Cadillac is set to become the 11th Formula One team on the grid next year, but the group that owns the controlling interest in that team, TWG Motorsports, is already a powerhouse in racing. And they showed that this past weekend with a coast-to-coast tour across America. Those teams are the Andretti IndyCar team, the Andretti Formula E team, Spire Motorsports in NASCAR, and Wayne Taylor Racing sports car program. And this past weekend, all four of those teams were racing at the same time. The CEO of TWG actually went to every single one of those races this past weekend. He started in Bristol for the NASCAR Truck Series, where Spire had 3 different drivers competing in that series, including Kyle Larson. Following the Bristol race, they headed down to Miami for Formula E, and then they went to the entire other coast to Long Beach. At the Long Beach Grand Prix, they had drivers competing in both IMSA and the IndyCar race. And TWG Global actually owns a controlling interest in my home baseball team, the Dodgers. So we also saw them include a Dodgers game in their tour. Something that's really exciting about this is we're seeing this Cadillac team for Formula One start to come together. And it's clear that it is really backed by a team that knows what they're doing when it comes to racing. And it's also backed by a team that obviously has a foothold in the American market. There's been a long conversation about Colton Herta potentially being in that Formula One seat, though Colton himself has said that he wants to focus on IndyCar winning the Indy 500 and that he doesn't have the super license points necessary to actually take that seat. And there's also been a conversation about where else that American driver could come from. But I think one of the things that will be really interesting to see is that a motorsports group that has a foothold in so many different series that also categorically have very different fan bases. While there are people who watch everything, the fan bases between NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula E, and IMSA don't have necessarily the exact same demographics. And Formula One is an entirely different beast as well. So when Cadillac does make that entry to the grid, and also as we start to see them making announcements and preparing the excitement for that entry, it will be interesting to see if they are able to continue to grow that American fan base that has been growing for Formula One for so long, and also if there's a way to bring some of these Formula One fans to cross over to some of the other series that they participate in. I think that there's a possibility that you could see some of that crossover, and also that potentially if these teams are all kind of seen as one group, there is a kind of instant gateway team for you once you decide to become interested in another series. So if you become a Formula One Cadillac fan, and then you decide that you want to get into IndyCar, do you know some of those Andretti drivers from that crossover? Same goes for NASCAR and Formula E. I'm very interested to see, after something like this, where we saw them kind of highlighting all of the different teams and how they're connected, if we start to see the drivers do media together with Cadillac drivers that we haven't seen announced yet, and if some of that drives different motorsports fans to become fans of other motorsports. So for you, if you're a fan of one of the teams in another series already, are you interested in seeing that Cadillac Formula One team and where those drivers come from? Do you feel like there will kind of be a bigger driver pool in a different way that's pulling from different series? And do you have any theories on who those 2 Cadillac drivers are going to be?